After a brief cold open reminding us that Stitch can't find the shrine he's looking for, episode 12, Brothers, starts with him tearing things up in frustration. I screams to startle him into stopping, then talks him down.
Now that I've got your attention, look in my eyes.
Huh?
That's what my mother used to say. You know why? She said, if you look in my eyes, you'll see that I love you and care about you, and that's all that matters.
JJ and Pleakley come in to see what the screaming was about, and the latter mentions a new device he's obtained called a tetratab. Apparently it has a bajillion different apps on it, so it's basically a hyper-advanced iPad. I sees an app entitled Cyber Siblings, which claims to be able to fabricate a sibling for the user. Okay, first bullshit of the episode, here we go. Both I and Stitch say that they've always wanted a brother. We can ignore that I already has a sibling because she specifies wanting a brother, which JJ is clearly not. Stitch, on the other hand, has 625 cousins or siblings, or however you want to word it, many of whom are male. Logically, this should have been the point where Jumba finally mentions all the experiments back on Kauai, jogging Stitch's memory about his home, and finally putting an end to the stupid amnesia thing.
626, you do not need a brother. You already have hundreds of cousins overseas, and I'm sure they all miss you very much. Oh, you don't remember them? We can set up contact with them. We could make phone call, or bring some of them here. Or better yet, take you over there to see them. You know who else is in Hawaii and misses you? Your first friend. There is no reason we should not be able to have you interact with your Ohana in some way. Seriously, this is common sense.
So yeah, neither Jumba nor Pleakley point out Stitch's existing family. They just kind of sit there like, yeah, this is fine, let's not try to restore his memory or reunite him with his loved ones and all, and instead let him mess around with this untested technology. We are not even 5 minutes in, and I want to hit my head against a wall. JJ has to leave immediately for a work-related event, leaving no voice of reason in the room to stop I and Stitch from activating the Cyber Siblings app. The app seems to scan their biology, then materializes two beings. One human and one resembling an experiment. The new siblings get straight to playing together in a montage that's so wholesome it almost makes you forget the level of bullshit that led up to it. Mei Ying stops by to let I know about a cancelled drum rehearsal, so I introduces her and Stitch's new brothers, named Yong and Scratch, respectively. Mei Ying says it's impossible for I to have a brother all of a sudden, but in the spirit of her continuing character arc, drops the subject and plays with them. The mean girls also show up, and are bitchy as usual at first, but after being impressed by Mei Ying's skill, join in their game as well. So clearly this is trying to extend Mei Ying's character development to the group she hangs out with, and I like that concept. Unfortunately, it's one that won't be explored further, because why have interesting developments for human characters when we can pile on as much alien-related bullshit as possible? Speaking of alien bullshit, it's about to get worse. Scratch leads Stitch away from the group and proceeds to, I shit you not, make a small-scale building with lasers from his antennae, then smash said building. How is he able to create physical objects out of nothing like that? Who cares? It's for the plot. Scratch makes more little buildings and encourages Stitch to break them as well. The two of them tear apart the mini-city with gusto. Meanwhile, Mei Ying and the other girls have to go home, so I and Yong go to see where Stitch went off to. They find him playing, and I admonishes him for taking part in such a mean game, but isn't worried as she believes Stitch would never do any real harm to a real city. Inside, Jumba is trying to figure out the specifics of the similarities between Stitch and Scratch, and asks Pleakley where he got the tetratab to begin with. Pleakley admits that it was sent to him as a surprise gift, allegedly from a planet called Idubaj. Jumba quickly figures out that there's no such planet. It's just Djibouti spelled backwards.
That's the way we learn, by copying others. Of course, we get information from books and computers as well, but our most important source of learning is watching others and copying them. Children learn that way. And now, 626 is learning that way.
Turns out the Djiboutis are behind this, intentionally having Scratch be a bad influence on Stitch to encourage him to do what the Djiboutis want him to do. The next step is to lure him to a construction site, increasing the scale of his bad behavior little by little. Scratch and Stitch sabotage the heavy machinery with ease and start destroying. When the police show up, Scratch uses his ridiculous powers to morph a wrecking ball crane into a wrecking ball robot. At the Wong house, Jumba and Pleakley hear a live news broadcast covering the claims of the workers about the creatures that have taken over their equipment. Realizing it must be Stitch making trouble, takes Yong with her in the hovercraft to intervene. With everything at the worksite reduced to rubble, Scratch leads Stitch to the entrance of a big city where the metamorphosis finally begins. The episode ends with him mid-transformation. Overall thoughts? Ugh. I already complained about the whole Stitch wanting a brother thing, and that's my biggest gripe, besides the entire metamorphosis concept, which I've already ranted about extensively in past entries. In addition, the plot used by the Djiboutis in this episode is unnecessarily intricate. Send a device with a bajillion apps on it to Pleakley in the hope that Stitch will not only get his hands on it, but also find the Cyber Siblings app and use it. That's a lot riding on highly specific events happening in a timely sequence. It would have made more sense and been more foolproof to send the Tetratab straight to and have far fewer apps on it, to increase the chances of Stitch finding the one integral to the plan. Whatever, it worked in the end, so it doesn't matter. I'm here to complain, so I'm gonna find things to complain about, damn it. Be strong, folks. Only one episode left. Remember, don't harass anyone for liking this show, and as always, take my salt with a grain of salt.